Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Brittany Duncan, a millennial homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a millennial homemaker. This is your host, Brittany Duncan, and I hope everyone is enjoying their December calm. I say that in quotes before the holiday storm. I will say, based on last week's episode, that I truly am. Once I made the decision to keep Christmas small and casual this year, it's left so much more room for the things that actually matter, like getting together with friends and family, which is going to lead me into my three favorite things of the week. Number one is the brunch that I had with my mom and Granny yesterday. We met for a little girls' Sunday brunch, and I just loved it. I don't know if it's my pregnancy hormones or what, but I am a big old sap lately when it comes to moments with those that I love. It's filling my cup and leaving me so content and happy, and I wish I could just share this feeling with everybody. Similar, but with friends, a dear friend of mine is moving, and a group of girls got together for a farewell gathering at a local restaurant. First shout out would be to Bodovino. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. In the Village, if you're in the Treasure Valley, Boise area, there's one in the Village in Meridian, but there's also one downtown. I had not been previously, but it was a great experience. They have a huge wine selection if you're into that. The mocktail I had was delicious, and all of the apps were so yummy. I just kept thinking to myself the whole time that it shouldn't take a friend leaving or a major event like a baby shower for us all to get together. We showed up, we ordered drinks, and every app on the menu, and just made it like really easy. It was just like, yeah, we'll take all the appetizers. And we just did like family style, shared. It was simple. We just talked, and some girls had to leave at various points through the evening, and it was just really chill. And honestly, I'd like to do the same kind of thing again and just keep it like whoever can make it, great. Whoever can't, no problem. We'll catch you at the next one. It takes the pressure off of an individual to host a group, and it was fun to go out. I really enjoyed it. My third thing, and I don't know if this is new or if it's just new to me, but I've shared how I love the Kevin's meals. I think it's Kevin's Natural Foods, I think is the full name, on here before. They're super easy to make, clean ingredients. They're paleo if you're into that. And I just got a new flavor from Costco, the Hawaii style chicken, and it was delish. It's almost like an orange chicken, but not exactly. Anyway, super tasty, highly recommend, really easy to make, and will be a new staple, I think. I'm enjoying it. Okay, on to today's episode topic, which is more of an emotional topic rather than a practical how-to for the home. And I know last week's was also like that, so I promise that we'll get back into practical homemaking, like tangible tips, next week. But I've had a number of experiences lately that have spoken to me and made me feel like today's topic is an important one, especially in this season where we're with family and coworkers and friends more than we may typically be. It's also a stressful season where our emotional intelligence might suffer. As I like to do, I am processing some of my thoughts through the podcast. So as always, take what you like, leave the rest. I titled today's episode, Mind Your Own and Own Yours. And basically it's short for the idea of owning your own decisions and minding your own business when it comes to others' decisions. I'm going to start with owning your own decisions, but the two ideas really go hand in hand. I'm in this weird state since getting pregnant where I feel that the balance of my world has already shifted slightly. The decisions that I make are through the lens of what is right for my family. And when I say family, I mean Johnson, myself, and our baby boy that's on the way. And it's an interesting shift because those decisions are really easy for me to make. And I feel so confident in them, where traditionally I have struggled with people pleasing, trying to make everybody happy, pushing the concept of like, go with the peace, go with the flow. I will
traditionally like sacrifice me time, my sleep, my energy to like fit more things in to keep others happy. Whereas now it's easier for me to do what I feel like is right for my family unit without second guessing it. I was going to say unapologetically, but I think that's a slippery slope, that word unapologetically. I'll get into that a little bit later. But I'll give a few examples of what I mean. Things like birth planning. I've been asked about and given lots of advice around different methods of giving birth, whether it's home birth, a birthing center, hospital, using a doula, medicated, unmedicated. There's a lot of decisions to come, or a lot of decisions that come when you are deciding how to give birth. And without getting into too much personal information, Johnson and I have decided on a hospital birth, which to many may seem normal. After all, 98% of births in the United States are hospital births. But I can tell you that in my circles, it's almost the opposite ratio, where home birth is very common. So for Johnson and I, we honestly made the decision of how we would give birth long before I was even pregnant. But more recently, and being further along in pregnancy, it shifted for me. Like before, when I wasn't pregnant or kind of early in pregnancy, I was a little bit like shy and nervous about telling people our birth plan. And then recently I had this light bulb moment that, one, not only is it not anybody's business, but that they don't have to agree. And if they don't agree, that doesn't affect me or my family because we have made the decision as a family unit. I can tell you that I was nervous for no reason at all, because even the strongest of home birth advocates in my life have been nothing but supportive and encourage me, regarding our decision. And I'm fortunate to be surrounded by these people that understand the core of what I'm trying to explain today, which is that the best decision, the right decision, is the one that feels right between you and your partner. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. If it feels right to your immediate family unit, you and your spouse and your children, if they're old enough to be part of the conversations regarding big family decisions, it doesn't matter if your parents don't agree or your best friends think you're crazy or people try to advise you another direction. You know what's right for your unit. And in my opinion, that gut feeling is to be followed. A few examples outside of my personal experience. I've had close family members and friends who have picked up, sold everything, and moved to locations with their spouse or immediate family, their children, not knowing a soul where they're going. And these individuals were often faced with questions and criticism regarding their decision. Why would you want to leave? You have a community here. You don't have one there. You're leaving your family. You don't have friends there. What about us? Won't it be hard for the kids to start over in school? Why would you do this to them? You name it. But they own their decisions and move despite the feedback. And I can only tell you what I've been told by these individuals, which is often I'm told that it's the best decision they've ever made. For some, they moved and then that wasn't quite the right fit and they moved again until they got it right. But the point is that each time they own their decision for their family unit. Another personal example is that Johnson travels. I was going to say for work, but it's also for pleasure. The point is really the same. He takes contract work placements around the country and is gone for a week or two at a time. It is what could be considered extra. It's not his main job. He isn't forced to go. As a family, we've decided for him to opt into these placements. He's outside of work. He's also an avid mountain athlete. His passion is high altitude mountaineering and skiing, and he travels to do it. These mountains are no joke. In order to reach the summit, in addition to weeks, if not months, of hard physical training at home, once you're at the mountain, often out of country, it can take days, if not weeks, to acclimate in order to be able to safely summit and descend safely. And I support him in this as much as I can because it's his passion. Is it dangerous? Yes. But I can tell you that he does it in the safest way possible. But one is still at the mercy of Mother Nature, pushing the body to a place it doesn't want to be and, quite frankly, can't survive in for long. So I'm realistic about it. I can tell you that in both scenarios, his work travel and personal are ones that don't always make sense to some other people. I've been asked why I, quote, let Johnson recreate this way. Well, similar to how we make decisions as a family unit that others don't fully understand, Johnson having this as a driving force and passion is something that I may not fully understand, but that I support because it makes sense to him and it's important to him. For his work travel, again, we've been asked, why he's doing this, if it's really necessary. And our answer is simple. It feels right for us right now. I've gotten very comfortable with our decisions not always making sense to others. And like I said, since becoming pregnant, it's gotten easier because I've realized that often these decisions have nothing to do with and don't impact the people that are asking us about them. So I encourage you to find the strength in your own family unit to make your decisions for your family unit and just stick to it all year round, but especially in the holiday seasons where life can be hectic. I listen to Give It To Me Straight podcast, and they do a segment where they answer questions from the audience and kind of give it to me straight advice. They give straight advice to the listeners. So these last couple episodes have been about the holidays and drama that comes with them, and scenarios that have stood out to me surround not wanting to go to a location for Christmas but feeling like they have to, feeling like they need to be with family on Christmas but being scared because they just had a baby and don't want to subject them to illness, but not wanting to piss off the family. The list goes on, but general themes are questioning your decision or putting your wants aside to appease others. Do what is right for your family unit. It doesn't need to make sense to your parents, in-laws. If you have children, adult children, and you're making a decision and it doesn't make sense to them, that's okay. Your friends, your coworkers, whoever it is, it's not their decision. Which leads me to the other side of the coin, which is to mind our own business. Similar to how we want others to respect our family unit decisions, we need to respect theirs, especially, and no excuses not to, when it doesn't directly impact us. We live in a world of constant feedback. With social media, we see it all the time, right? Someone shares something they find helpful or an opinion, and 100 people will come out of the woodwork to state their opinion about it. But it's not only in social media. It's not only to strangers. We do it to our closest friends and family members. And often it's with good intentions. We give unsolicited advice. We ask clarifying questions to try and make sense of how they got to their decision. When those questions don't really matter and are not necessary. If they made their decision, consider the matter final and support them. Or if it's something you can't get behind verbally, silence and acceptance can be a saving grace. You can accept a decision without agreeing with it. Inserting your opinion against their decision is probably not going to accomplish anything other than potentially driving a wedge between you. If it's something that you feel like your conscience won't rest until you state your piece, ask them and be prepared that they might say no, and you have to be willing to accept that too. Can I give you unsolicited advice about your decision? You might not like it. Or can I offer you some unsolicited advice based off of what you've just told me? If they say yes and choose to hear you out, it doesn't change anything. If they, decide to stick with their original decision, you're back to square one. Support or accept their decision, even if you disagree. Remain silent, but move forward. I said earlier that I think the word unapologetically is a slippery slope. It has its place, but I don't know. I think it's more of a slippery slope than it's worth. I keep the word unapologetically behind iron gates. If you're unapologetically confident in your family decision that does not impact others, sure, that could be a good thing. But unapologetic can become an identity, and while it's easy to say, I'm unapologetically me, I do what I want, I say what I feel, and those can be things that are admirable. They showcase self-esteem, authenticity, enforce boundaries. I think it can very easily start to lean into lack of empathy, selfishness and being brazen, if I'm being honest. And we like put it under the excuse of I'm, unapologetically me, or, whatever it is. We're all entitled to our opinions, but I think it's important not to state them all the time, particularly when we're stating them about something that doesn't impact us directly. And I mean truly impact us. Not, I don't like how they said that or how it made me feel. I don't agree with what they said. That's not a direct impact. What a direct impact would be is something that is a change to your daily life, your resources, your opportunities, your environment. I think we confuse feelings with direct impact sometimes. I do it too. Something can make me sad and not directly impact me. Someone's decision can annoy me or offend me, but not directly impact me. I hope that makes sense. It's a hard habit to break. We all do it. To help myself work to stop doing it, I have a series of questions that I try to remember and ask myself, like, internally. And this is kind of where that, like, pause before speaking comes and, like, think about what you're saying. So before I give advice or state an opinion, I've been trying to ask myself more lately, like, is what I'm about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Did they ask me my opinion? Did I ask if I could give unsolicited advice, or did I dive in? And saying, you didn't ask my opinion, and then diving into your opinion, it doesn't make it okay. Like, that disclaimer is to make us feel better, not them. And it's not an acceptance of unsolicited advice from the other party. I try to consider timing. I heard in an HR session long ago, the phrase, like, praise in public, criticize in private, and it stuck with me. If you feel that a decision directly impacts you and you need to say something about it, check the time and place. Johnston and I have a rule that we don't make any big decisions the same day. We sleep on it whenever possible. And I think the same can be applied for having conversations regarding differing opinions or feelings. Sleep on it, and then have that conversation in private at a later date. Maybe it's the next day, but not only does it allow your emotions to calm down, and you to, like, really think about what it is about what they said that is bothering you, but again, it just creates that space, and you can have that conversation in private. To wrap up today's episode, I just want to leave you with this. Give yourself permission to protect your peace and honor the needs of your own little family unit, and then extend that same grace forward. This season is supposed to feel joyful, but joy doesn't magically appear. We create it through our boundaries, our choices, and yes, sometimes our silence. So as you move through the next couple of weeks, the holiday parties, family expectations, work events, all the things, I hope that you feel empowered to own your decisions with confidence, and just as importantly, let others own theirs. There's so much freedom in staying in our own lane and trusting that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know and what they value. If this episode resonated with you, or if it sparked any reflections of your own, I'd love to hear from you. You can always message me on Instagram at untraditionallytraditionalpod. Share the episode with a friend who might need it, or just take a moment to sit with whatever came up for you today through listening. I really appreciate you spending part of your December calm before the storm with me. I hope that you have a week full of ease, little joys, moments that fill your cup the way brunch with my mom and granny did for me this week. I'll be back next week with a more practical homemaking episode. I promise we're going to get back to that. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of your people, and as always, happy homemaking.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.